Oh, you think we've done that before, to send out to the people that can't be with us today. All the sessions in the last follow-up session, we've recorded everything. In the last follow-up session, I did send a link to everything. I might just do that again on the next one, or maybe the following one, just so you've got a full suite of all the different things that not only cover the quarterly meetings, but cover the masterclasses as well. So if you've missed anything, because obviously people have joined the network at different times, we're just trying to make sure everybody's got all the info that they need, that they can catch up on. Plenty of people in the chat saying hello. Nice to see everybody. Yes, today's first set. Oh, let's have a look at the agenda. So what we're going to talk about today. So first session is going to be around the lovely Jill, and it's all about Jill for the first 15 minutes, all about the Careers Hub update. So Jill's going to talk us through where we're up to in the Liverpool City region from a Careers Hub point of view. Bit of a hot topic at the moment. We've been talking across lots of the different meetings that we've been at around engaging parents. So I'm going to talk just about 10 minutes. We'll see how we go on parents and carers. When I talk about parents, I do mean parents, carers, anybody who looks after young people. Yeah. We're then going to go out into some breakout rooms, and I want us to have a real focus on the network. I've got a lot of questions, and we probably won't be able to cover it in 10-20 minutes. So again, following the session, if you've got any feedback for us, if there's something else that you'd like to see going forward as we go into the next academic year, I'd be really interested to hear what it is that you want. We really want it to be centred around employers' needs, and obviously the skills talent pipeline. If we've got any time left at the end, I'll just do a quick brief overview of what's coming up, the next couple of masterclasses, and if we finish early or even on time, early would be a bonus. Bang on time, I think. Over to you, Jill.
Thanks, Michelle, and morning, everybody. Lovely to see you all again. So I just thought that today I'd just give you a very quick update on where the hub is at the end of term 2, which was at the end of March. And I'm not going to go through everything on these slides. Obviously, Michelle will share them out afterwards. And if you've got any questions at any point, you can always email me. So just to kick off here, this is our new dashboard that you'll start to get familiar with as we move forward and into next year as well. So this gives us an idea of where we are as a region. So we've got 136, we've actually got 137 schools and a couple more coming online as well over the next couple of months, which will literally take us up to the maximum. We will have no more schools and colleges to be able to engage with within our region. And what you've got across the bottom is where we are against our Gatsby benchmark. So that's the framework that all of our schools are working towards, and the work of the hub actually supports that to engage them and ensure the quality, and also that we're able to sort of pick up any challenges they've got. And it's the way that we actually look at as well, how are we actually engaging with those that most need the most support and the most help. What you'll find across the bottom there is on achievement. We are above national average on most of those benchmarks. We have no concerns at all around progress and achievement to date. And obviously that's just a continuation really of the work that we do as we move forward. So the Compass evaluation is completed for us on a termly basis. So we've done autumn term, we've just done spring term, and we'll get a full update just before the end of summer. The key ones for me on there really is benchmark 5 and 6 for employer engagement. And sorry, just moving back, there you go. On benchmark 5 and 6 on the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that our levels are back up to and over where we were previously. So that shows the work that all of you as our employer network are actually supporting us with. You'll see that dip in 2021, which is the COVID implication really on where we were around obviously doing and supporting our young people, but it's great for us to see that progression, that moving back, and that also includes as well a real good mix of hybrid engagement. So we're doing face-to-face back in schools and colleges, but we're also still doing the online sessions as well, and I think that's really important and certainly a real opportunity for you as employers to be able to do more things much quicker without travel and things like that as well. So that will continue forward. So you can have a look at that. Oh, I can't get used to using this. This is just really just a bit of an update in terms of where we are on support and delivery, and a few of these things on here. And there's been a lot of changes from January this year around the way that we're actually supporting the year groups with provider access legislation. So this is really around our apprenticeship and technical education. And are our students on those three year groups as they're put together actually getting the right advice and support? And are we delivering that at a younger age? And this is around making sure we've got the training providers talking about apprenticeship, traineeship schemes, supported internships. We've got employers going in and talking about their apprenticeship schemes as well. And the likes of Michelle and Ian, who run the ASK programme as well across our region, and just making sure that students are provided with all the options. So it's not just about going and doing A levels, but there is an array of different pathways and opportunities for them. And that now is really being embedded through, and it's now a mandatory requirement of schools and colleges. So we'll see a lot more of that running through. We've done over 2,700 students now. We've used our immersive headsets within SEND, and that is now pushing out to our students who are sending mainstream as well. So our special education needs students, and that is going absolutely fantastic across our region. Again, we've got 3 employers who've supported us with that, and we're always looking for potentially any other employers who'd maybe even like to consider coming on board and doing something additional within that programme. We're still running our Next Steps programme with our Year 10 boys who are now Year 11s, and all of those now have a destination for after the summer. They're obviously in exams at the moment, and we will be tracking them through into next year. So it's key for us to ensure that they get to their destination in September, and that they actually stay within that destination at college on whichever course, and we're going to support them through to next February as well. Lots of work going on around the local skills improvement plan and embedding, obviously from an employer perspective, what you need from our young people, and also in terms of what's actually happening out in FE in terms of the courses and how those skills are actually matching through to employers. So, you know, things like the LCR and employer standards for careers education is obviously key in terms of the way that we're providing you with the necessary support, and that's part of the employer network. Lots of things that we've been doing again around our experience of the workplace, which is actually why I'm here today. So we're actually going to be delivering that pilot programme actually to the wider network across the NHS and social care today. So lots of things been happening, and obviously the network has really grown this year, and we want to continue that through to next year as well. You'll have seen this slide before, so that just really summarises really where we are in terms of some of the different options that we've got. And what I've just done on the next slide as well is just to give you a quick summary of some of the things that we've been working on. You'll see on there I've put employer twilights in the middle sessions piloting, and Michelle's going to pick that up in the breakout sessions as well. So, you know, a big focus for us next year is really to start to really engage with teachers, because it's the teachers who are doing obviously the curriculum learning within school, and we really need to embed. So the more that we can educate our teachers about what employers are offering, the different relevant jobs, the qualifications that are required, then for us that would really sort of provide much more support and really give our students much more opportunity as well. You'll also see there's some work we've been doing within the gaming industry through the employer network as consultation, and there's quite a number of other areas across the combined authority that we're obviously working on, like the Freeport, and I know that Johnny's on the call today as well. So there's lots of things that's happening where we're actually aligning to in terms of what our region's strategic focus is as we look at the growth sectors for our region. If you've not looked at it, there's just a quick slide on our website, which is brand new, but there's a massive employer focus now on our new website. So please go on, click on it and take a look. And then I think finally, I just wanted to give you an update on these are our priorities for September onwards. We've had our new grant offer letter, so funding's all agreed with the Department for Education and the Careers and Enterprise Company. We've had 7 priorities this year. They are very similar in terms of what we're already currently doing. The two key areas that you'll see on there is the focus on teachers in priority 2. So we're talking about you as employers, students, but now that real focus on teachers and really engaging them at a deeper level. And the other area on there under priority 4 around disadvantage is that we will have even more focus on free school meal students, and that's about how we actually ensure that some of our cohorts, some of our most disadvantaged, that we're engaging with those as we move through to next year, even more so than what we have been doing. There should be nothing else on there that you're not familiar with, but as and when we sort of develop some further strategic focus work into next year for the plan, we'll obviously come back and share that after the summer period. And happy to take any questions on any of that. So Michelle's going to pick up the questions. I just put on there some key areas, the discussion topics for today that would be really useful to look at. And I think that's me finished. So, and I know I'm going to have to drop off around past, but happy to take any, if anybody's got any questions or you want to pick it up later. Michelle, very quick whistle stop.
Very quick whistle stop. Absolutely loads of information, and as Jill said, I will send that out because I do think it's kind of good for us to see from an employer perspective how our schools are faring as they get judged through the kind of compass evaluation. Just going to everybody, has anyone got any questions for Jill on any of that? Feel free to shout out or raise a hand.
Nobody wants to ask me a question. I suppose what I should have said on one of the slides, I think I've put it in there, the Give an Hour that we relaunched back in summer last year, which is where we've obviously got employees opting in and getting the calendar of events that schools tell us about. We've hit, I think it's over 200 actual employees going into schools and supporting either lessons in classes, going to careers events, doing specific areas of focus that the schools have wanted. And that is a massive achievement and a massive thank you to everybody that supported that this year, because the numbers and the amount of support that's been provided has been absolutely amazing. So thank you. And we're going to continue that through next year.
Fab, thanks, Jill. I suppose one of the questions I've got, like with all of these things, with all of the things that we've been talking about, the idea of us having an employer forum is so we could join the dots between all the different programmes and offerings to our schools, colleges, and obviously the other side of the coin are our employers. Is there an update on the future of CEC and the Careers Hub and how that's going?
Yeah, I think I mentioned before the fact that we've got our grant funding for next year, but there's also a focus now around sort of a 10-year strategy plan in terms of where the Careers Hub will continue to support. I think the focus for us now is that we will be in our 6th year starting in September. So if you think about, some of our schools have really worked really hard and have enough support where they can actually maybe in effect manage slightly with less of the hub support. Then we've got other schools that have maybe in more challenging areas that need more support. So as we move forward, we will still support all of our schools, but we will try to focus more on those. So when we talk about our disadvantage, we're talking about some of our cohorts. So our looked after children and our free school meals children in certain specific areas of the borough where we know that maybe, there is more disadvantage within that area, and how can we ensure that those young people, whether it's attendance, how are we ensuring that if they're not in school, maybe they're being home educated, how are they actually being given skills, career support if they are not there? So for me, this is more about us really getting now really focused around those that need the most support. But yeah, hopefully 24, 25, 26 onwards, I think the work's been so important, and I think we're really, really lucky across our region with the support that we do get from employers and the link that we have across the region in terms of really aligning to what the growth sectors are, where are the skills, where are the jobs coming from, and how do we ensure that our young people are aware of these new opportunities, but also are considering what's going to be there for the future as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's just for me, the whole point of the network was really to make sure that we're joining dots and we're answering questions, and we're kind of delivering what our employers and our schools and colleges are asking for in this crazy post-COVID world.
Definitely.
Okay. Thanks, Jill. If you have to duck out, don't worry. If you've got any questions for Jill, or if you want to have a more in-depth conversation about what the Careers Hub, what the Careers Hub works, the structure. I am quite aware sometimes as well that we've done these sessions as a series of sessions, and sometimes people are jumping in at a quarterly meeting and it's their first quarterly meeting, and we're still talking about acronyms and Gatsby benchmarks, and you might not understand what that is. If anybody wants any kind of whistle stop on stuff like that, again, get in touch and either me or Jill can go through all that. So one of the things that we've been talking about, it does seem to be a particularly hot topic at the moment between some of the different groups that I sit in, boards that I sit on, and some of the consultancy work we've been doing side by side with the Careers Hub in the Liverpool City region, is when we talk about careers pathways, careers choices. And I suppose I want you all to kind of cast your own minds back here while I'm talking about this. It's kind of really interesting to think about what influences your choices. Now, I'm really old and I don't want to be an influencer when I grow up, but it was really interesting looking at the definition of what an influencer is in today's day and age. I did find some quite funny memes as well, because to talk about how we influence kind of parents and carers, but I didn't really want to upset anyone, so I've stuck with this. So it's interesting that an influencer now is, number one, a person who uses social media to promote lifestyle choices, commercial products to his or her followers. Two, or any person or thing that exerts an influence. And I think when we talk about careers and careers pathways, we immediately go to school. It's what the teachers say, it's what the careers teacher says, and that is very, very true. It might be peers, it might be friends, it might be family, but if you look into the research around the influence that parents and carers have on a young person's life, it's phenomenal. And it can work kind of both ways. Parents absolutely do influence their children, and children actually expect their parents to influence them. They're looking for advice. And again, I'm talking about parents and carers here in general. Obviously, there's specific or there's differences in different cultures, with different social mobility, with neurodiverse young people. I am kind of just talking in the general sense. That parents do exert like the most influence on their children's choice of next step, whether that's university, degree, but actually they don't necessarily, some of the studies show that they have the least influence on what employer they choose to go to. I found that quite interesting. In schools, generally, our children are encouraged to go to university. Again, if you go back home and start talking to your parents and carers about what you're going to do, if your parents have gone to university, you are more likely to be encouraged to go to university. And in general, alternatives, and I don't know whether you found this, I'd be interested to see in the discussion in the next session. Alternatives to university are not often discussed at home, if that's not the pathway that the parents or carers have gone themselves. Parents actually find a lot of information about other pathways from schools, from the information our schools and colleges put out. So I think that kind of gives us a kind of challenge, I think, to make sure that we're educating our schools, our colleges, and our parent community about the kind of jobs and skills offers that are out there. I do think in general, parents don't know where to find online information to help their children. And there is an absolute wealth of information out there, and sometimes it's really difficult to distill. And I'm talking about distilling when we're talking about pathways, not even when we're talking about sectors. It's the ripple kind of goes on and on and on. There's been research showing that mums are more likely to influence than dads. I don't know how robust that information is, but I do know when it comes to influence, it's not constant and it's not consistent across the board for all our young people. And one of the things we're trying to do within this network is to make sure all our young people are finding their best next step. So the consistency of information and stuff that we can help support our schools and colleges, I think, is absolutely vital. So with this in mind, I just wanted to give you a little example of some of the things we've been doing recently. So we've done a couple of these sessions, the most recent one around the gaming industry. And what we've done as a collective, so all the partners who work with schools have advertised this out to all our contacts in schools and colleges, and said, okay, we're going to do an open online event. And it was really, really nice. It was just for an hour. It was for parents, carers and young people. We found we had one person on a call, 2 people on a call, 5 people on a call. We also had teachers on the call. And then the teachers disseminated the information to their parents in their school. But it was really to give a whistle-stop information session really about the gaming sector, and more specifically the gaming sector in the Liverpool City region. Not the gaming sector in New York, because that comes in at number 2, gaming sector in the Liverpool City region, because we want to kind of show our young people, but show their parents, so they don't go home and go, hey, I want to work in the gaming sector, and parents go like, oh no, that's just playing Xbox. We wanted to kind of highlight that that's not what it's about, and what the real opportunities are in our area. So we did an hour session. But it was very, very much interactive. So we had a sector focus at the beginning, a sector focus like from across the Liverpool City region. We had one of our gaming organisations talk about the gaming sector as a whole, and trying to kind of bust some myths. Oh my days. How down with the kids am I today? It's because I'm talking about gaming. That's what it is. Bust some myths about the gaming sector, the careers paths, what careers are available, what people should study at school. And then we literally had half an hour of an employer panel, which was really exciting, because it was like the beginning of a birthday party. Is anybody going to turn up? Is anybody going to ask any questions? And there was a little pause when we said, right, okay, we'll open the floodgates. But we absolutely got inundated with questions. The session was then recorded and sent out. From a numbers point of view, we didn't really have a kind of KPI, because it was digital. We didn't really have a cap on the numbers, but we had 300 register for this session, and we had just over 100 attend on the night. So the follow-up was all 300 got the video, and quite a few people did say, oh, I'm really sorry, I've signed up for it, I can't do it now, can you send me out the information? And as I say, that video has also gone out to our schools, and some of the schools have sent it out to the parents. So the ripple effect of that, from an influencer point of view, has really been quite huge, and we're almost unable to pin that stat down. Now, we've done that with the gaming industry. We've also done it, and we're planning a couple more at the moment, around pathways, around apprenticeships, around T-levels, about traineeships, just to give some support and general feedback to our parents and carers, to enable them to help their child make their next best step. And it's just gone down really well. So I was hoping in this bit really just to say, like, there is a problem like around what influences our young people. And I know I'm joking about influencers, but it is things that they see in this very fast online world, and how we support the generation that's supporting them, really. So I wanted to kind of give you twofold here. Yes, you know, we're talking about parents, we're talking about carers, and we do realise that there's an issue there, but we have found almost it's not a silver bullet by any means, but it's definitely part of the solution. And I do think, with it being very Liverpool City region centric, and because all the partners were together, it worked really, really nicely. So if anybody wants to get involved in something like that for their sector, please talk to us after the session. Again, that might be something that comes up in the conversation that we're going to have in just a minute. I just thought that we haven't really talked about parents and carers in any of the sessions, or we've only really touched on them in some of the master classes. But we do really want to kind of, I was going to say, hit our young people from all sides. I don't mean that. But we need to surround them with information, and that means surrounding the influences as well. So there's a real piece of work that we need to do on parents and carers. And as Jill said earlier, we're going to start looking at focusing on teachers as well, making sure that teachers have got all the support when it comes to careers and careers pathways in our city region. Okay, so this is the bit where I'm afraid you can hide behind your cameras, but we do want your voice in the next session. Now, I've popped up some kind of prompters, and Julie Jones, I'm going to make you take one of the breakout rooms, if you don't mind, as Jill's got to jump off. I've put some questions kind of on this slide, but I'm really quite happy if you go off topic. We're gonna bye Jill. We're gonna spend the next kind of 10 minutes. If we're really into the conversation, I'm quite happy to go on for 15. We'll see how we go. I've kind of put some prompters here of what I think we should be talking about. But really, I want to focus on, we're looking at planning what we're going to do as a network over the next academic year, because obviously we work in academic years. Is there anything that you'd like to see the network achieve in the next academic year? You know, any suggestions on how we can improve the sessions, anything that you need to support, want to discuss? You know, was the parent stuff, the teacher stuff, something that you've been thinking about? You know, the given hour stuff, flexibility on dates, things like that. It's the stuff that you want us to organise as a collective on your behalf. This is just suggestions to kind of guide the conversation. I'm going to whiz us into 2 rooms. does feel like the Matrix when you get like sucked back into that main meeting, doesn't it? Very strange.
Waiting for the other room to come back now.
I don't know about any. I've started working in my conservatory and I'm slowly starting to cook myself once it gets to about 12 o'clock. It's getting so bright and so warm. I love the heat when I'm outside or on holiday, but while we're working, it's not quite as much fun. Well, I think we've nearly got everyone come back now. Okay. Right, just looking at, just give you a little bit of a feedback, we'll just kind of share what we talked about in each room. Julie, do you want to go first? Do you want me to do ours?
Yeah, so in our room, we went through the various questions. We didn't get to the last question, but we covered the others. So a lot of the members in our session were new, and this was the first session they'd attended. So it was quite tricky for them to say what, they might like to see and, any suggestions going forward because they weren't sure what had been covered previously. So a lot of positive feedback about the format of the sessions, upbeat and informative from those who've attended more than one. So yeah, in terms of suggestions on how to improve the sessions, it was just kind of maybe recapping on things that have gone on previously for those that are new each time. Yeah. Terminology and, just reminders of what the various programs and terminology mean for those who are new, to keep up with that steady flow of newcomers each week. So in terms of the training and support, it was I think it was Steph who mentioned that employers in one of their steering groups have mentioned that their knowledge of the various pathways is quite limited. So in the Liverpool City region, there could be some benefits to more training for employers themselves to understand what the various pathways are all about: traineeships, apprenticeships, T-levels. So we mentioned there'd be a lot of focus for parents and teachers and upskilling them and helping them understand pathways, but getting that message out to the wider employer network in the city region is important around those pathways, because there does appear to be some gaps in the knowledge. Was it Jackie? It was Steph, wasn't it, who brought that up? Steph, did you want to add anything in relation to that?
Yeah, it was just around, we hold a steering group once a term for all creative and digital employers. And we work an awful lot with Liverpool City region employers. I was saying to Julie, Michelle, we are Warrington, but we hold the AEB contract part of an AEB contract in City region, and we work with City region a lot. So when we've held our steering group meetings, quite an awful lot of the employers in the Liverpool City region are apprehensive around apprenticeships, particularly within creative and digital. And I've always had the assumption, the assumption was that was around the likes of health and social care, hair and beauty, hospitality and catering. So we're doing a lot of work at the moment around apprenticeships, T-levels, HTQs to inform our employers about the offer and what it involves, how it impacts them, how we can get involved, how we can support them. But there was a huge gap in the knowledge which kept coming through time after time. So I just wanted to raise that really in case it was something the network could do around employers particularly.
Yeah.
Yes. So some masterclasses around sort of what is an apprenticeship, what is a T-level, like general training for employers in that sector. It'd be great.
Bob?
Thanks, Steph, for coming in there. Thank you. So in terms of the employer programs, as I say, some of the employers are new to the group, so weren't sure what Give an Hour was. So we've done a little recap on what that program's all about. And everyone was, really positive about, how that runs. And Marie was really positive and said the format works for them in terms of the flexibility, where schools will say, we'd like an employer to come in any Friday between 1 and 3. That flexibility really works for their organisation. But there's also a good balance, because for other schools who do specify days and times, that also works for them as well. So Marie from ITS thought that was a really good balance for giving our, but there was, there appeared to be like a sort of imbalance with the boroughs that were represented. You know, the schools sort of asking for support from the employers. Marie would like to see more of a balanced sort of array of schools from each of the boroughs, so that they can spread out their support evenly. So I thought that was quite good feedback that I'm going to pass on to Charlotte, who runs the Given Hour, and then we can look at the representation of schools in each borough and maybe look at balancing that out a little bit for employers, so they can reach all corners of the city region. So that was us.
Fab. To be honest, Julie, you probably covered a couple of things that we talked about. I do think there's a gap, I suppose, for people who come in brand new to a session and haven't got the historic knowledge of what we've obviously been trying to build on over the last year. I don't know whether we do a one-pager or, you know, to attach with you. I don't know whether we need a welcome pack and a badge now. We've got, like, you know, we're moving into our second year, but that's definitely a thing. Again, one of the things with the session, there's almost so much to talk about. It might not be a one-page flyer, it might be quite a big one, but there's definitely work we need to do on that. So that definitely follows what we've said. Again, people liked this was an area that we could have effective communication, and the whole point of this was to have a joined up approach between all the different things. It was good to find out. Somebody said they'd not heard about, like, the parent session that we'd run, that was an option, and that maybe we could have a more clearer overview calendar of events of what's going on, and I think that's all kind of in the planning. One of the other things that got said was we'd like a bit of in-person, which might be quite nice. We might next year look at doing kind of hybrid quarterlies, maybe have some in person, some online. Definitely got plans for stuff around training and pathways, and definitely got more stuff in the parent session. Again, I was kind of trying to put together that the idea of this is that it was an almost pick and mix of how to support our careers in schools and how can we support you as colleges over and I say a year, and I have to say that it's kind of an academic year, that we've kind of planned this to make sure that we're supporting you with the programs that you're on, and sharing the information around the network as well, because even if we only have 20 people at a session, this session will still go out to 160 people in the network. And we are having constant feedback and chats with various different people as well. Brilliant. I did like upbeat and informative. I just took that as, Michelle, you are upbeat and informative, like not any of the other speakers. I don't know, that's my own ego that's just said, oh, nobody actually said, it was just me. It's okay, it's fine. So last 5 minutes. Gemma, I don't think we need the slides. I don't think I've put any more slides on, unless I have. Yeah, I've not changed that slide, so take that down. So next things that are coming up, we've got 2 masterclasses before everybody hopefully goes on their summer holidays, or at least gets a bit of a break. The next masterclass is going to be on social value. A little bit about the heart, like why are we doing this? Like, what's in it for us as organisations engaging young people? I think a lot of the time I get a lot of people say to us, oh, you're the people who do the really nice thing with the kids. And I know we're the people that are funneling the talent pipeline that's changing industrial strategy in the Liverpool City region. You know, the stuff that we're doing, inspiring young people, is big stuff. It's not the nice to do. Well, it is nice to do, but it's a really important piece of work. But we're going to talk a little bit about social value and social value to you as an organisation. The second masterclass we're going to do, and I'm going to put the invites in your diaries. And again, quite happy if you accept, decline, we'll send out the recordings at the end of it. It's just about having the availability, and this is the feedback that we've had for things that people want. We're going to do a really nice hour on how you can engage really quickly. So how you can do a running start for schools and colleges, and a little bit of how to talk to an 8-year-old, because I think sometimes it's quite difficult for us as grown-ups. Like, it's a bit scary. Do you want to go into a school and talk to 15-year-olds? Like that for a lot of people is a scary thing, and sometimes they're not nice. Sometimes they're lovely, but that idea of, you know, it's all about communication, it's all about language, it's all about the language that we use in our jobs. So we're going to do a little bit around effective communication to young people. So a nice kind of end to the masterclass sessions for this academic year. But as always, please keep the conversation going. If you want to meet with me or Jill or any of the other partners around any of the subjects that we've talked about. The first masterclass is going to be on the 21st of June. And the second masterclass is going to be on the 13th of July. So expect a few emails from me following this meeting. I'll probably do the follow-up early next week with the recording, and there's a few things I need to get out to the network. Then the invite to the social value on the 21st of June, and some practical top tips on the 13th of July. Gemma's just done a little plug. If you want to find out more about STEM ambassadors in the region, the STEM ambassador program in the region, please get in touch with Gemma. That works kind of hand in hand, side by side, to the Give an Hour campaign as well. So if you're looking, I can't remember who it said about the spread across the boroughs. A lot of the requests that go on Give an Hour also go on the STEM Ambassador platform, because what we're trying to do is get the biggest reach of employers and fulfill as many needs of our schools and colleges as possible. The whole idea is that us as different organisations are working hand in hand, not in a competitive manner. So by any means, if there's anything that you want to talk about, by all means, drop us a line, get in touch. I did say we might be early today. I got you 3 minutes. So if anybody's got calls at 12 o'clock, you've just about time to grab a brew. Maybe not, maybe quick wee. That might be it. But yeah, thanks everybody. Nice to see you all. Look out for the emails that'll follow next week. You're all free to leave.